Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in my Pentiment playthrough. Today, returning to Pentiment. In last week's video, we told Father Thomas here that the Apollo and Artemis, the two gentlemen, the Gardner gentlemen named after the pagans, named after the pagan gods, were in fact the thieves of the key. So we're actually going to head up to the mill. Before we confront them about that, we're going to head up to the mill and head to the Mueller house and have a conversation here with everybody, which we haven't had conversations yet. So we'll wait and have a conversation with everybody here and enjoy some more of the beauty of this game, which is all the dialogue. So without further ado, let's have some fun here. Elsa. Magdalene, can I help you with something? Magdalene, we could say, I came to see how you're doing, or not really, unless you can tell me about the early history of Tassing. We'll say the second one. Elsa, no, I know nothing of those times. I used to sometimes borrow books from your dad, but what's the point? Magdalene, what kind of books, or of reading? Elsa, it doesn't matter. I'm just dead weight for Paul and Anna. I never should have escaped the mill. Magdalene, we could say, what are you saying? Or, that's an awful thing to say. Or, if I understand what you're implying correctly, that's a sin, Elsa. Let's avoid this one and say that's an awful thing to say. Elsa, I will speak my mind now, as I did not do so before, when it mattered most. Leave me be, please. Boy, that conversation went bad. We should have just asked her how she was from the beginning, but maybe that would have gone bad too, considering her overall, sad demeanor. Let's talk with Anna. Anna, God bless you, Magdalene. And Ulrich. Hello, Mag. Yeah, so that didn't work out. Have we already talked with Paul? I'm wondering if we have already talked with her. I didn't think so. Oh, good morning, Magdalene. How's the mural coming along? Magdalene. Well, I think I'm off to start the first part of the mural today. I'll paint the founding of Tassing and the Romans. Paul. Well, you won't want for any models. Tassing is littered with Roman ruins. It's almost a nuisance. I trust you'll take the council's opinions of the matter into account. Magdalene, we could say, of course, Paul, the mural is for the entire town, not just for me and my father. Or, I'll listen to you, but ultimately the decision on what to paint lies with me. Or, you couldn't decide what should be on the mural for months. I'll stick to my own decisions, thanks. Or, what we will say, which is, respectfully, Paul, no one else in town can do this project better than me. Won't you leave the details to me? Paul, all right, Magdalene. You can choose what to paint, and we'll leave you to it. I trust your good sense, and Ott's does too. You're well suited to this job. All I ask is that you keep the Lord in mind. The mural is for Tassing, but we have others to appease as well. Magdalene, we could say, I understand, or I'll consider the Lord, don't worry, or sure. I'll consider the Lord, don't worry. Paul, thank you, Magdalene. Anyway, I'm glad that the mural is coming along well. Forgive my sudden questioning about it. I've been so busy preparing for the council's next meeting, I haven't had as much time with Anna as usual. She says I get a bit frantic when I'm overwhelmed. Magdalene, is the council working on something new? Or, I didn't think council work was all that serious in such a small town. Or, maybe you should take some time off from the council, Paul. Paul, we're considering yearly maintenance checks on every house in Tassing. The idea has had quite a bit more pushback than we'd anticipated. Magdalene, new ideas always face some kind of opposition. I don't think you should let that stop you. Or, I can understand the utility of the proposition, but I feel it might be a nuisance. Or, I can't imagine why. I'd certainly love it if my neighbors nosed their way into my house every year. We'll actually go with the third because I'm not really sure I'm liking this idea. Imagine every year someone like checks your property to see if you like meet some standard. I don't like the idea. Paul, it's a matter of safety, Magdalene. The old widow's house was practically falling apart before she died. This would help protect those in Tassing who don't have the skill to fix things themselves. Widows like Agnes or Gret. In any case, the matter is far from resolved. I imagine spring will come before anything is actually done. I had better get back to work. Thank you for letting me interrupt your day, Magdalene. God bless you. Magdalene. Until later, Paul. Andreas? Magdalene. Petsube. So, what's very interesting here is I wanted to comment on Paul said make sure everything is in line with the Lord. And actually, that's why I wanted Magdalene to marry Paul. But now I'm going to have Magdalene, if I still think it's possible, because I didn't shut the door on it, I'll have Magdalene marry Otts, because I want Magdalene to get married. I don't want her to be alone, so that's the plan there. So before we head to the forest, let's head to the Abbey and see if we can have any conversations with anybody there. Remember, having a conversation with Father Matthew was a good idea, so let's see if we can't talk with someone there. Guest house closed and Abbot house closed. I actually never clicked on one of these before. What actually happens? Magdalene, the vines have grown over the entrance to the old abbot's house. What happens if we click this one? Let's see. Magdalene, even the old guest house is falling apart. I didn't know that she said something. I would have clicked on them in the past. Let's talk with Martha here. Martha. Oh, hello, Magda. You wouldn't happen to be going to the convent? Magdalene. Perhaps later. What brings you here? Or, I wasn't planning to. No, we'll say the second. Martha. I don't know if I should talk about this. I'm, thinking about joining the Poor Clares. Magdalene. Magdalene, we could say, oh, that's a nice idea, or, why on earth would you want to do that, or, it's a strange time to join an order. Well, see here. I never expected Martha to become a sister. She's always been so timid. We could say, this could be a good choice for her. Perhaps I should encourage her to join, or such a dramatic change might be too much for her. Maybe I should talk her out of it. I'll say yes. I'll say it's okay if Martha joins the convent. And I'll say that because, remember, Matilda was part of the convent, but now she's with Vojslav. So, it's not like I think that she necessarily, is stuck here. So, if she wants to spend some time with the Lord in the convent, so be it. Perhaps later, she might still go on to get married like Vojslav and Matilda. So let's go ahead and encourage her. It's okay to join. She's the oldest unmarried woman in town. Her choices are limited, but joining the order is a big commitment. This may not be the wisest plan. Carl needs help around the house, and she seems unsure. Oh, okay. So they're actually trying to persuade me, even though I picked the top path, to tell her not to join. So let's actually have her not join, because the game is saying that. Martha, maybe. I don't know. But Tassing is a place out of time, isn't it? Nothing changes here. Everyone makes sure of that. Magdalene, that's not true. The Land House and Roth House were built in our lifetimes. Or, you think the Poor Clares are more forward-looking? Let's be positive. Martha, the Land House serves the pilgrims who've been coming here since before we were born. And the Roth House, the Lord built it for the men to make certain things can't change. Be honest, what do I have to look forward to? With Dad's injury, and me unwed at 25, older than all the boys in town. If they don't see me as a sister, they see me as a mom. And when Dad dies, not any time soon, God willing, I won't be able to claim the farm. I'll lose my home. With Anton gone, there's nobody to take it over. Magdalene. We could say, "You could still get married before that time comes," or, "I understand times are tough, but are you sure this would really make you happy?" Or, "That's unfair. You should be able to inherit the property." We'll say you could still get married. Martha, if I'm honest with myself, do I even want to? There's little to look forward to with so few options in Tassing. So now we have some choices here. We could point her to Kraft, Apollo, or Otts. Since we want to marry Otts, we're not going to point her to Otts. We want Magda to marry Otts. That's my strategy. We don't want her to marry Apollo. Why? I don't like the Gertner twins because they're named after the pagan gods. And in this game, that doesn't seem like that's the appropriate decision for at least my character. So I wouldn't want to impress that on Martha. So that leaves us one option, which is Kraft. Martha, if he's such a treasure, why haven't you married him yet? He frightens me sometimes. There's a fissure of unhappiness in his heart that goes all the way through him. Men like that, you can never really get close to them, can you? They want to stay hurting. Maybe I'd have more prospects if I lived in a big city. But the convent would provide for me and bring me closer to God. Why not withdraw from the trials of the world? You know as well as I it's not safe out here. Magdalene, you could do so much more. You just need to be more ambitious. Or maybe you're right. I've thought about joining the order myself. Or I don't know what to say. I suppose you should follow your heart. Or hiding away behind walls doesn't seem like the right way to live. We'll go with the first one. Martha, I wish I were more like you, Magda. But I do not have your passion. I don't even know what I want from life. I wake up, I take care of Dad, I go to church, I sleep. I can't imagine what else there could be. I just exist. It's not enough. But joining the Poor Clares is a lifelong commitment. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Magdalene, I think you should join the Sisters, or I don't think you should join the Order. Ah, we failed. You can't just throw your life away over one bad day. Martha, but I wouldn't be throwing my life away, Magdalene. Paul wrote that there is no greater reward than living for Christ. Honestly, she's right, but I felt like the game wanted me to try and persuade her otherwise, so. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to play both sides. I'm just saying that I did try, and from the beginning I was like, you can go ahead and join. Nah, so yeah. I want to live a life with meaning, and I've always admired the sisters' dedication. Besides, if I join the order, Dad won't have to worry about what happens to me. I'll pray about it, but I think it's time to talk to Mother Francisca and the others. So, I will gather my courage, what little of it I have. Magdalene, if you think that's best, just be sensible, Martha. Martha, I will. Until later, be well. Super exciting conversation there. I feel bad because I would have liked to have had her not feel like she had to be part of the convent or something. And now I feel like that much more like we have to go find Otts because like there aren't like a bunch of options in Tassing for Magdalene to get married. So because I don't want her to marry Apollo or Artemis, and I don't want her to marry Kraft either. So Otts is the best candidate for her. Prioress's house. All right, let's have a conversation with Francisca. Francisca, God bless you, Magdalene. I had been hoping to speak with you. Do you perhaps have a moment? Magdalene, of course, Mother. How can I help? Francisca, I had heard that you had taken up the mural in the Rathaus after your father's terrible attack. Magdalene, yes. I'm excited to paint the town's history. Or, that's right, what of it? Francisca, Your enthusiasm and insistence is most troubling to some people in town. Magdalene, I know the council was hesitant at first, but they all agreed I could do it. Or some people. Or you wouldn't happen to be including yourself in that group, would you? Francisca, yes, Magdalene, myself included. I understand how you must have struggled with your mother's passing while you were so young. Without a maternal figure to guide you, it is no wonder your spirit has wandered and wayward from its nature. Magdalene. I'm not sure what you mean, Abbess, or, what, or my spirit's fine, thanks. We'll go with the first, will be nice. Francisca. The pursuit of such trades is not for women, but men. As Paul writes, God calls women to work at home, not in trades. While supporting your father is laudable, taking on his work is imprudent. There are plenty of young men in Tassing worthy of you, or perhaps you have a different calling. I'd like to offer you a place here among the sisters. We could say, Magdalene, we could say, I understand you may disagree with my choices, but I'm not going to stop painting the mural, Mother Francisca. Or, my dad taught me how to run the shop, and I love printing. What's wrong with working as a printer? Or, wait, who's saying I'm troubling? And how did you hear that anyway? Aren't you all stuck up here? Or, well, Saint Hildegard wrote music and books as a woman. That never stopped her. Why should it stop me? Hildegard. I've already read this one. We'll go with the first one, this option here. Francisca. Saint Hildegard was the chosen of God and survived many years of trials and illness. Would you follow her sacrifice, Magdalene? Magdalene. I just don't want my only options to be marriage or being stuck in a convent. I want to do more. Or, I don't think I'm going through enough trials to deserve some. I think I'm going through enough trials to deserve some freedom at least. Well, I wanted to get married, so. I don't like the language here, so we will pick the first one. Francisca. What more do you want? The Lord asks us to be content in what we have, and you have more than many, young lady. Think of my offer, Magdalene. God bless you. It's Margaret. God bless you, Magdalene. Gertrude. God bless you, Magdalene. Magdalene. God bless you, Sister Gertrude. Gertrude. Are you doing all right? Father Thomas told us about your father's attack. You were incredibly courageous to run to Dr. Stowe's so quickly, especially when the attacker could have been about. Magdalene. We could say, I had to do something. Even if whoever attacked Dad was still there, I had to do something. Or, I didn't even think of that. I acted on instinct. I only knew Dad needed help as soon as possible. Or, honestly, sister, I was terrified. I only thought of Dr. Stowe's because there was so much blood. We'll go with the first one. Gertrude, the Lord was with you that night. I'm thankful you were not in harm's way. I lit an extra votive candle in Saint Satia's shrine for each of you this morning. Magdalene. Thank you, Sister Gertrude. Dad's spirits have been up, but I know he doesn't have much time. Or, Dad says that the pain has gone down, but Dr. Stowes is worried about a brain hemorrhage. Or, he hasn't been able to get up or walk around without my help, Sister Gertrude. I don't know what to do. We'll pick the first. Gertrude. Have faith, child. The Lord cares for Klaus, just as he cared for his son. I'll see if I have any psyllium left in the convent. If you blend it with the broth or warm wine, it will heat his brain and prevent infection. We could say, thank you, sister. I'm grateful for all the help everyone in Tassing has provided. Or, I pray you're right. I'm trying to keep busy with the mural, but sometimes I just want to cry. Or, it's just not fair. Why would God let this happen? I feel so helpless all the time. Since, of course, as Lord Naren White, I'm never self-defeating. We'll pick the first option for Magdalene. Gertrude. The Church is body of Christ, Magdalene. We are all one community and want to help Klaus before his time. God will turn this for good, no matter what things look like now. God sees beyond time itself, but we are constricted by the present. I have been around long enough to see fruits, even when I thought the devil had burned the fields. Keep faith, Magdalene. Magdalene. Thank you, sister. Your words warm my heart. Or, I'll do my best. Or, I just wish this never happened at all. We will pick the... We'll pick the first one. We'll pick the first one. God bless you, sister. Gertrude, God bless you, Magdalene. Pet son of Mousefanger. And now it's time to journey to the forest. So to confront Apollo and Artemis over what they did, and to look for further information regarding everything. So let's talk right immediately with Apollo. Apollo, hey Magdalene. Magdalene, hey, hello Apollo, what are you doing? Apollo, looking for frogs. Artemis says she saw one the other day, and we're trying to collect a bunch. Magdalene, what do you need the frogs for? Apollo, like I'll tell you, you'll snitch. Magdalene, we could say, I won't, or if you don't tell me, maybe I will snitch. Your mother won't be happy to hear about whatever you're up to. Apollo, Artemis always says Mom doesn't care. Mom yells, but that's about it. Sorry, Magdalene, I can't risk this one. Try asking Artemis. Interesting. So, let's see the shrine. Oh, there's something useful there. Agnes gathers chamomile out here every year to prepare her cures for the coming year. Chamomile is one of the flowers that blossomed over Saint Satia's grave. Legend says it bloomed all year long. Saint Satia's shrine. Martha especially likes to leave offerings for her. Artemis, hey Magdalene. Magdalene, we could say, I told Father Thomas what you're doing. I won't put up with your shit anymore, Artemis. Or, hey Artemis, Apollo said you're catching frogs. I don't know what to say. On one hand, I want to confront her. On the other hand, I feel like since we've already told Father Thomas, let's actually see if we can't prevent this frog debacle. Artemis, yeah, what about it? Magdalene, he told me to come ask you why. He wouldn't say anything. Artemis, he didn't tell you? Christ. Finally, he's learned to keep his mouth shut. Magdalene, we could say, aw, come on, just tell me, or, but you'll tell me, right? Artemis, fine. Just promise you won't tell. Magdalene, yeah, of course. Artemis, oh, all right. We want to put them in the altar, so at Mass, Father Thomas reaches for the Eucharist and frogs go everywhere. Magdalene, we could say, we got an achievement, by the way, for convincing Artemis. Magdalene, haha, I can't wait to see Father Thomas's face if you can get away with it. Or, why in the world would you want to do that? Or, that seems like a really bad idea. You've already been to confession this year. We'll go with the last one. Artemis, exactly, Magdalene, exactly. Magdalene, we could say, well, good luck, or be careful, Artemis, that could backfire on you. Artemis, don't worry about us, Magdalene. See you later. So, it says return the key, so let's actually go talk with Father Thomas and see what he says. Have I talked with everybody at the Golden Hand Inn? I actually surely do not think so. No, Werner's over here. I never talked with him. So I should talk with people at the Golden Hand Inn as well before I continue on. But first thing is we talk with Father Thomas. Let's talk with Father Thomas. Thomas, God bless you, Magdalene. So we can't seem to talk with him. Sister Amelie, maybe? Nope. God bless you, Magdalene. We can't do anything there. That's not good, man. So we can't seem to actually have any kind of conversation with Father Thomas, so I guess he's on his own for now in that respect. So let's talk with the people at the Golden Hand Inn for now. Let's start with Killian. Killian, hi. Then Hannah. Hannah. Hello, Magdalene. How is your father? Magdalene, we could say, unwell, still, and getting worse, or he's hanging on. But Dr. Stolz is concerned he's not improving. We'll say the first. Hannah, is he eating? You must make sure that he's eating. I know the season makes it difficult, but he needs the best of what you have in storage if he's to heal. I'll send Nico over with a few of our good apples later. That was nice of her. Typically there was someone over here. Not this time, I guess. I'll talk with Werner. Werner, Magdalene, tell me something. Magdalene, we could say, all right, or if I must, or are you well? We'll say, all right. Werner, why was I cursed with a life in Tassing? What does this pathetic little hamlet have to offer a man like me? Tell me, Magdalene. Magdalene, you're drunk again, aren't you? Or I don't know. What is it you think you deserve? Werner, I was destined for the courts of kings, not a town full of peasants who churn out more of themselves than the rabbits in the meadow. A town where craftsmen, learned men like myself, Baltas, even your father, have their minds wasted, and in a few decades we will all be dead and Tassing will forget us all. God doesn't care. He never cared for me. He deserted us all when the abbey was destroyed. If he even exists. Magdalene, we could say, you've had too many, Doctor. You don't know what you're saying. Or you don't deserve this place if you can't see its worth. Or what we will say, which is, Dr. Stolz, that's blasphemy. Werner, if he doesn't like it, let him strike me down right now. Release me, O Lord, I'm waiting. As expected. You know, I've tried to do what's best for all, but none of you listen. It's only argue, argue, argue. You, Klaus, Jorg, Baltas, gah. Baltas and his stupid inventions. He's the biggest fool of all. Magdalene, why are you so resentful of Baltas? Werner, he's always lecturing me. All these years he's thought he's better than me. I can see it clear as day beneath that veneer of cheerfulness. Magdalene, you're jealous because he's successful and wealthy, or I thought you were friends. Werner, Baltas doesn't know what a friend is. All he needs is an audience. And you, with the mural? I don't know what you want with it. It's beyond you. Stay at home. Cook your bland peasant food. Look after your dying father. Pick herbs for whatever provincial remedies you still hold to. Do what you're meant for. Magdalene, you could say, I'm going to do nothing less than exactly what I want, or I'm doing what's right for the town. We're going to say that. Werner, what do you even know about what's right? You're barely out of childhood. You don't know what this town has been through and what this town needs. Magdalene, we could say it needs people to tell the truth, or it needs people to champion its stories, the first one. Werner, this is exactly what I mean. No one wants to hear the truth, girl. Hick. You'll never find a husband with that attitude of yours, girl. Magdalene, roll your eyes or I'll be fine. Werner, for now, before the weight of the real world settles on your shoulders, your father won't be around forever. It may not even last the winter. Then what will you do? We could say, if you're determined to be an asshole, I'm going to leave, or I'll survive. I have people who care about me. Can you say the same? Or I'll leave home and renounce all worldly riches, like Saint Mechthild, and become a mystic. So this is actually interesting. I'm not going to pick the third one, obviously. we could say, do you even have people who care about him, which is pretty brutal and actually the truth because he doesn't. Or, if you're determined to be an asshole, I'm going to leave. We're going to take the high road on this one. I have a mural to work on. Werner, do what you want, Magdalene. Just don't ruin the mural. Not that it matters anyway. Well, he seems bitter. And that's where we'll go ahead and end the video there for this week. And so, with that I want to say, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe as it greatly helps the channel. Light to be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.